Good evening. No matter how many lasagnas you stack on top of each other, the end result is still just one lasagna. Now that we have dispensed with the usual formalities, today's project is going to be starting work on the second kiridashi. I want to go ahead and get that rough forged out, especially now that I've figured out why my forge wasn't cooperating so much. And maybe start grinding on it. Probably won't, because it's going to take a while to do the thermal cycling. That's okay, I can have that one at least rough forged and hopefully have the grinding work done on it before the Maker's Mark gets here. I've also started rounding up some finishing supplies, so hopefully once I start working on that I can get it to at least an acceptable level of polish and sharpness before it gets sent out. I know with the kiridashi especially, like your final polish on your primary bevel and the bottom is going to be really important because you want that like microscopically sharp. We'll see where it takes me because I've never done anything like that before. It's going to be fun and also incredibly boring. I'm also going to take you on a quick zip around the shop. I spent my day yesterday cleaning stuff up, reorganizing, making some stuff a bit more modular so that I've got a little more space to work, got a little bit more space for Edgar, the imitation cameraman product, to move around, and make things easier to find. So without further ado, I'm going to pause this, take the phone down, put the camera around, and take you on a quick tour of the shop before I put work boots on and fire up the forge. Okay, so there we have what is going to fill in for a large coconut mat to clean the bottom of whatever I'm wearing off before I go into this side of the garage and go into the house. And because I have tracked stuff all the way through here and straight up into my wife's office and wasn't aware of it until she pointed it out. This is not too much new. I removed a lot of stuff from over there to make some room. That table saw is almost brand new. It was 30 bucks. Not going to argue with that. And then we get to here. I brought the drill press out. I brought the bench grinder out. I brought the work sharp out. Cleared this shelf off to make room for hand tools that I don't have another place to put. Got abrasives, and I can probably move the saws all over to that shelf too later. I have cleaned the floor up and gotten rid of a ton of dirt. My hammers have moved over here. That canola oil is at least 3 years old. I am scared to death to open it, but sooner or later I'm going to have to either throw the whole thing out and buy a whole nother one, or try to figure out how to clean the paint bucket out. Got my hot chisels. I got the less often used tongs and rebar and stuff in there. And the tongs I use the most often are in there. There's the ASO I picked up recently. The grinder I have turned sideways and slid it in between these tables so that it creates more room through here to walk through. And when I need it, I can slide it out, park in front of it, do what I got to do, and push it right back in place. There's my 1x30, and down here I got the power file, needle files, little hand tools, marble slabs, clamps, all that stuff. And then the bandsaw is out here, and this is primarily for cutting scales because that is a fine blade and will not put up with cutting steel, and it'll take forever to cut larger pieces of wood, but it's the blade that I got on here and I don't know how to change those yet. So that is my shop tour. Everything's starting to look a lot better. The last thing I have to do is figure out where to put my lathe and how to set it up to hold me until I've got 300 bucks floating around to build the workbenches that go all the way around here and fill in this spot right here. So without further ado, I'm going to pause this, put boots on, and we'll be back. Alright, so I've got this zoomed in about as well as I can. I'm going to try to shift this around a little bit because I'm going to fire the forge up, let it start warming up. And again, we are starting with that piece of steel there. I can't zoom in any closer from where the camera's perched. I don't have a better way to set it up right this minute. I'm going to do what I can to walk you through how I'm going to go about doing this as I do it, and get everything set up and squared away. I've got to start the forge, plug the fan in, make sure it's pushing excess heat out that way, and then we will be golden. Alright, back in a bit. Alright, so, and yeah, I got to lean down because the camera angle, I'm not going to fight with that all day. What I got here is my piece of raw steel, and the first thing I'm going to do is come in here and work on squashing this in this way to make my bevel. Now, I know experienced smiths already do this, so you're not going to ignore this part. But for me, taking pieces of steel like this and smashing them in like that has been very difficult. I only just got it right on my last one, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and get 3 or 4 hits on this corner, push it back, and then lay it flat, get 3 or 4 hits, flip it over, 3 or 4 hits, and by then it's usually going black. If we're moving fast, I've gotten all that done before it goes black, and I go back in the fire to keep it warm. I don't want this getting cold because I don't want a million stress fractures. This is made from the same leaf spring, and there's a crack here on the spine. It radiates into here, and it goes out in like 5 different directions. Right in there, and right there on the spine. Now, I spent hours and hours working on this, and I would be furious if I didn't accept the fact that I knew I was going to make mistakes. The other mistake I made, I did not control the size and scale of the piece I worked. If you're a beginner, split your leaf spring down the center and cut off like 3-inch chunks. That's all you need. Don't try to do one of these when you don't have control of your heat treat. Don't do it. You will regret it. I'm going to throw this in the fire. I'll be back in a few. And I'm going to have to juggle tongs because the blade box tongs, while they work great, didn't work great the whole time. These bolt jaws didn't work that great the whole time. So I had to flip them out until I found stuff that worked for each stage of the process. Alright. Okay, so we are getting ready for the first heat, and I'm going to show you just a couple of heats on this one part of the process. You don't need to see, an hour and a half of me working the same part of this thing over. And we'll get that done, and we will move on to the next part, and then I will start recording again once it's time to draw the handle out and knock the finger notch in. So, here we go. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what I came up with off the first heat. It's still glowing just a little bit, but I'm going to put it back in, and that heat lasts a lot longer than expected. I'm going to do one more heat on camera for you, and then I'm going to stop it until it's time to work the other end over. And I was taught by a fortunate fire champion, you want your tongs fairly accessible, and clear your anvil and set your hammer like that in between heats and don't screw with it. That way you don't lose time on your heat trying to find the hammer. I am still learning to do that out of habit. Not quite there with it 24/7. And if you're a beginner smith and haven't done a lot of projects, the kiridashi is a good one because it's one piece of steel. You can look at designs online and find one that works for you and just let her rip. And it's just hammer it to shape, do your sanding, and then do your hand sanding, and you're golden. You don't have to worry about scale. with all of it. This heat's good enough. We'll get this last heat and I'll stop the camera. Alright, that's where I'm at after 2 heats. I've managed to keep the fish mouthing minimal. I'm still going to have to touch that with the grinder, but it can wait until the point's almost complete. I will see you when it's time to work on the handle. Okay, so I'm really excited about this. I just hammered this point in start to finish on that piece of steel without touching the grinder. That's where she ended up. There you go. I mean, for me, that's incredible. This also means it's time to start working on the handle. So I'm going to stick this back in the fire, get the back end heated up, and we'll be back. Alright, the handle is almost ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the tip. I'm going to show a few heats, like maybe 2 good heats of shaping the handle. You'll get the point, then I'll come back when it's done. So far, this is going so much faster than the last one did. If anyone has a hookup with the guys at Blacksmith Depot, Kanye and or Son, let them know they make a fine product. I do not regret spending the extra money on one bit. God, these songs are good. And I swapped over to the blade box for a better grip. I'm about to go ham on this. That's off 1 heat. That's how much shape I was able to get. And I already switched over to the stubby blue S-wing because honestly my arm's already giving out off of the long handle 3-pounder. Combination of lack of quality physical conditioning and helping a good friend of mine move Saturday. I don't regret doing that one bit. Good friends are hard to find. You take care of them when you can. But Stubby Blue is going to wear my arm out the rest of the way. And then we'll break in the Stubby 2-pounder and see how that treats me. And I'm not going to pause it because the next heat's almost ready. I wish my arm was what it used to be. I will see y'all again when it's time to knock the finger notch in. Alright, so little 2-pound S-wing. I took it to the belt grinder last night and I dressed the face up and softened all the edges. And after one good heat, this thing is an absolute rock star. I love it. About time to knock the finger notch in place and make the bevel. Once the bevel's done, that's pretty much going to be it. I will be letting this one sit for a while because now I'm tired. And I have gone over my 11-minute run. Hopefully we can keep this down to no more than like 15, 18 minutes tops total for the whole thing. We are almost through hammering this thing out. And I switched over to the flat end tongs because the blade box no longer works for dimensions as small. Okay, finger notch. Want it right about there. Not work. But the whistle they gave when I drowned them was very satisfying. I'm going to go back to the bolt jaw and see if that helps. One more heat knocking the finger notch in and I'll pause it to keep this video down below 20 minutes. Hopefully. Okay, that gets a small finger notch in there. It's not major, but I can absolve that sin on the bench grinder later. That's what I'm going to have to do. If I keep going, I'm going to ruin the rest of the piece. I'm going to pause this and come back for one good heat on the bevel, and then after that, come back with the finished hammering. And we're back. Time to snack the first part of the bevel in. I don't know how clearly you can see that, but we got a bevel started. I'm going to finish this and come back with a finished hammering. Okay, so this is the last of it. You can see the general shape here. The bevel got a little steeper. I think you can kind of get the idea of what happened there. It's still very thick, but that's because the last one I made too thin and had a hard time grinding it down. So, this is the second kiridashi that I made. It went way faster and way easier than the first one. Practice pays off. 2-pound hammer did a lot better for me than I thought it would. But this is what I've got for today. I'm going to let this cool down, heat it up 2 more times, thermal cycle it, and call it a day.